Hey guys, Kev here, and I have a rapid review session to do for you. I have three knives. I have the Tempest Knives Pinion right here. I have the Maxace Knives Pterosaur right here. And then I have the Maxace Knives Beetle S right here. And yeah, so I've carried, used, done my thing with these three, and I thought I'd do a video. So let's talk about these real quick. We'll start with the Pinion. I've already done a review on the prototype. I've done a unboxing. I've done another unboxing with the three I got. So I've covered this knife quite a bit, and I didn't want to do another full video on it. But I gotta say, guys, this thing's a home run. There's not much else I can say. Casey killed it on this one. He got back up off the ground after the Mach 51, and he came out swinging, and I'm proud of the guy, and I'm happy for him. I put this clip on here. It's a Lynch clip in the blacksmith configuration. I did order 3 more. So I have one in satin, I have one in DLC, and maybe another one. I can't remember. Maybe. It might just be 2 more I have coming. So I'll probably put the satin one on here because satin hardware and everything should match pretty good. I do have a stone-washed one that I have currently on this stout. So maybe I'll do that to match the blade, but then put the satin one here. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But anyway, that doesn't matter. This is the black micarta version. I did have the black G10 and the blue G10 as well. I sold the black G10 and I gave away the blue G10, which that person then put into Knives Live 2022, which is very kind of them. I didn't need 3 pinions. I bought 3 to support the project, and I love this one in the black micarta, so this is the one I decided to keep. I have skiff bearings in here. It is dialed in. It's not a guillotine, but some of them, I think the blue one I had pretty much just dropped. But this one I kind of dialed the D10 up just slightly. Didn't need it. It was personal preference. And this one definitely had the strongest D10 out of the group. Again, personal preference. And so it's not going to drop shut, but it feels fantastic. It swings down and quick shake. It is dead nuts. Centered, beautiful knife. I really like it. The action is incredible on the deployment. You can hit it from almost anywhere on this fuller. It's insane. You know, you can ride it up with the middle finger all the way up at the tippy top of that hole. You can ride it down with your index or your ring finger down here at the bottom of that fuller. I could probably pop a pinky in there. Oh, and get it. Let's try that again. Yep, got it with the pinky. I can thumb flick it. I mean, you just index. Let's try the index. I suck at the index finger, just saying. Let me try with the left. Oh, yeah, it's definitely easier left-handed. Because it clips over here. Oh, Jesus, Kev. Come on. Give me a good one. Boom. Got it. All right. So you could 5-finger it. So she said. Beautiful pivot. Let's zoom in. I am testing some new camera settings. Shout out to Brent over at Backpack B. He gave me a couple ideas. So I am rocking the 4K. I think it's still 30 FPS, but I changed it to a higher resolution. We'll see. The lighting looks better, honestly. It's picking up the shadows a little bit more than it used to and the light source, but it seems like everything's a little bit crisper. But I could just be crazy. I don't know. Flat grind is really nice on this. Comes down to a good edge. It's not stupid thin, but it's good thin. Very sharp. Almost looks like a mirrored edge on here from Kubi. They just really did a good job on these for Casey, and I'm really happy about that. The gripes I have on the knife. So I do have 2 gripes, and they're basically the same one. The blade to handle ratio is still just, for me, it's a little bit, short here on the blade. I personally would cut the handle down, and that's the other gripe is blade to handle when open. You can see it looks like less blade than handle, and the prototype was worse than that. It was probably like back here, so they did extend that out, which definitely looks better. I'm not trying to talk shit, but I got to give my opinion here. So it just feels a little bit too long in the handle for me. So like even when I'm choked up like this, it just feels a little bit long. Choked back like this, I still got plenty of room back there. So they could have just chopped a little bit off. Now, Casey has larger hands than I do, so maybe it fits his hand a bit better. But it also just seems very straight. So it's long and straight, if that makes sense. And it just feels like maybe it could have done with a curve or something. And that may have helped a little bit. Or just shorten the handle down a little bit. If that makes sense. And I think my own design kind of suffers from the same thing on the Stout. But it is a little bit shorter. I don't know if that helps a little bit. But when you grip it like this, it just, I don't know. It's definitely very straight. And this kind of has that same feel to it. So definitely a criticism I'd give myself as well. But it does not even come close to making this a knife that I wouldn't consider. I love it. You know what I mean? I just have that one critique. Man, that detent just fires, though. It's stupid good on the detent. The lock bar access is phenomenal. It's 14C, 28N, and black micarta, steel liners, titanium hardware. Normally it comes with a wire clip. All of that, and I paid 85 bucks, I think, for this one. Well, I got the 3-pack, so I think I paid 80 for this, but you know, they might be 90 bucks or 95 bucks on the drop or something like that. It's so worth the money. It's not even funny. It's fantastic. So that is the Pinion, guys, from Tempest Knives. Definitely check it out. There is going to be a drop of these. I believe it's going to be Monday the 24th. Is it the 27th or the 24th? I think it's 24th. Whatever that Monday is. So anyway, yeah. That's that one. Then you have the Pterosaur from Maxace. This one was sent to me by White Mountain Knives, so big shout out to Justin over there. Use my code LeftyEDC at checkout. You'll save 10% and get free shipping on U.S. orders. Now, this one I actually carried today. I carried both of these today because I was like, I want to do the reviews, overviews, and obviously, you know, sometimes I don't carry a knife at all. I'm like, you know what? That's going to be too big and uncomfortable. I'm just not even going to carry it. And I'll just tell you I didn't carry it, and I'll give you the rest of my thoughts, right? And that's what I was going to do with this one. But then today I was like, you know what? Let me just chuck that in my pocket. We'll see what happens. And so that's what I did. So I put this in my back left pocket today. And I'll be honest, it did not weigh me down or anything. It felt pretty good. It wasn't like I noticed this big old knife back there the whole time. So they've done a pretty good job, I think, with the weight. There must be some milling in here. Let's see if I can get a flashlight in there. So you have that back spacer that is really milled out. You have some milling at the bottom of the handles, but honestly, not a ton. But that back spacer really takes up a ton of this handle, and that's extensively milled. So it's not like it's light, but it's definitely not as heavy as you'd expect a knife, you know, this size to be, right? For a size comparison, here's my CKF Evo 2.0 right here. And I can get it out if you want. I'll get it out. I'm in the middle of selling this one, but I think I am buying another one actually from somebody else. This is the CKF Evo 3.0. So just so you can see both compared. It is bigger than the 3.0, but not by much. And it's a bit bigger than the 2.0. So there's that. Put this away. I should just leave it out until I actually sell it, because I keep doing this and then taking it back out, but it is what it is. All right. One other size comparison, the FSD. Oops. This is probably a good comparison right here. And, yep, it is almost identical, maybe just a hair longer than the FSD, which is a big knife, guys. This is a big one for me. So, there you go. Now, another one that's really straight, like we were just talking about. This one's a little too straight for me. It kind of feels like a katana, like it's meant to be a folding katana or something. But you get a lot of handle there, and it's all straight, so it's just a little bit weird. Now, I did cut with this. It's up on my Instagram. I cut some cardboard with it just to test how it went. And I'll be honest, it did not do terribly. I thought it would be worse. It actually has a good edge on it. It cut through pretty well. Take some knife shield here and just take the time to clean this off. It cut through the material well for being such a pry bar. Like, it's literally a folding pry bar in my opinion. Let me just get that off. I do have to send this back. This is a loaner. But you can see how thick this edge is. I mean, look at that. Up at the tip there, that secondary grind is just a freaking pry bar. And honestly, down here, it's thinner, but not by a ton or anything. So I just didn't expect it to be good at slicing, and it really was. So it goes to show you that if you put a good edge on something and you have decent geometry, even with relatively thick stock and a thick grind, you're going to be able to get through material pretty well, especially on a knife this size. You just have a lot of power through the cuts. And it was, to be fair, it was like thin cardboard. It was like a pasta box, but it was just what I had. But it did cut, so you could carry this. One thing I want to note is the detent does come out. The detent track comes out of the handle here. Not my favorite in terms of design aesthetic. I just don't like it when the knife is open and the detent track is exposed. It just could lead to issues if you get something on there. If you're cutting something and you get stuff on there, it could just, cause issues. I think this is on some kind of multi-row bearings or large Teflon cage bearings. The action is really good. The detent is not super strong or anything. It's actually kind of light. You can easily fail it. But if you flick it, it flicks, right? And you can reverse flick it pretty easily. Again, it's a little awkward because it's such a straight knife. The closing action I like on this, instead of being like, say, the Evo, where as soon as you depress it, it wants blood. Like, it wants to take that corner and jab you in the thumb and destroy your soul. Like, that is what this knife wants to do. So it's usually best to just do that, close it like that. Or if you're going to do it right-handed, kind of close it on an angle. So have it horizontal and do this. Get past the detent, which I didn't. So you want to get past and then let it drop like that. You do not want to do this and just let it swing down because whoosh, it wants to crush your nail and make you bleed / have nerve damage / have 6 months of issues with your nails. Trust me, I know. So this guy, while it doesn't have as an aggressive corner here, if it swung down like that, it would do some damage. But the way this one's designed, it does come down more on a flat instead of on the corner. And it has like a more hydraulic action, so it doesn't quite swing and just want to stab you. It kind of glides. See that? It's not just a straight guillotine. And I like that. On a knife this size, it's kind of nice not to have to worry about your, nail getting damaged. So they did a pretty good job with that. It's very smooth. It still drops shut. It's just not an absolute guillotine. There's no play in any direction. One thing I want to say is I'm a little disappointed in the knife. Because when I first saw it and when I asked to check it out, I really thought it was like one of those, like it was trying to be like the Riot T1000 or, there's a couple of them out there where they're, like the Midgard's knives where they're just super overbuilt. You can like turn them into fixed blades and do all this stuff. And I thought this was kind of like that, but it's more just an aesthetic thing. It looks like one of those knives, but it honestly doesn't have the weight like one of those, or honestly the size and the blade like one of those. It doesn't have the cool mechanisms and stuff like that like one of those. So that was a little bit disappointing. Not that any of that is my style, and neither is this, but that's kind of what I was expecting, and that kind of seemed how it was advertised maybe, but I could be wrong. But nonetheless, it is kind of cool. It's just, you know, it's not the most ergonomic, but it gets the job done. It's got great action. It's got a cool aesthetic if you're into this stuff. Like, I feel like Beard of Doom would love this thing. You know, who else would like this thing? I don't know who else would like this thing. People who like big-ass knives like this. So, yeah, that's the Pterosaur from Maxace. Then you have, on the opposite sort of end of the spectrum, the Beetle S, which is a slip joint with this, honestly, I'm going to say it, stupid mechanism or stupid design where it has these sort of catches along the way, and it goes from open to, like, halvesies, and then a half stop, and then another halvesies or quarter, whatever you want to call it, and then, so they're kind of quarter stops, I guess you'd call them. And it just makes fidgeting with it awkward. Like, I really enjoy opening and closing my slip joints. And this just doesn't give you any satisfaction. And the in-between ones don't have the same kind of spring to them either, because obviously they're on a quarter. They're not a half. So they don't kind of bounce to the half stop or close from the half stop like a traditional slip joint. So you kind of get this mushy feeling from here to here, right? And then you get nothing really in between. It's kind of just like, I don't know. And then you're at half, and then you kind of, again, mushy, and then nice pop open. That pop is nice. But I wish that's how it all felt, right? I don't know how to explain that better, but it's just not great, in my opinion. Also, you can tell by the spring. So normally you want the spring to be flush in all positions. This one has 5, not 3. But you'll see here, when I go to this corner, boom, it sticks out because the tang is obviously on an angle here. Then you go to half, boom, it is flush. And then you go to 3/4, boom, sticking out again. And then you go all the way up and you're flush. So they did a good job with it. It's just, I just don't understand these quarter stops. Why? Why are they there? What do they do? What do the quarter stops do is my question. How are they beneficial to the design? Other than being different, how are they beneficial to the design? And that's what I always ask myself, right? Did you just do it to do it? And that's what it seems like they're doing. And that's what it seems like a lot of these companies are doing. They're just doing stuff to do stuff. And you know what? A lot of people like that. So that's fine. But I personally don't like that. If you're going to do something, I want it to have a benefit. So, I don't know. Clean this blade off. But it is a good looking knife. I mean, it's a larger sized slip joint, that's for sure. It's a full size knife. And that's not normally what you want in a slip joint, in my opinion. Let me put this away. I'll grab a slip joint and we can just compare one real quick. So, something similar. What is it? A spear point? So, what's this one? Okay, this is a dog leg. Yeah, that's pretty comparable. So, this is the Canine Jack from Jack Wolf Knives. Everybody at this point, I think, knows that Jack Wolf Knives are the best slip joints, production slip joints. I would even just argue, in general, they're the best slip joints you can get. But I'm no expert on slip joints, but I've handled a lot at this point, and I really, really think they're the best. Anyway, there's a size comparison for you. And I would say the Canine Jack is on the larger end of what Jack Wolf does. So, it's really big, the Beetle, right? And here, just for traditional, so you can see what a traditional slip joint would do. Kicks to half like that, and then close. Half, open, half, close. And that's just a really fun and fidgety thing to do. So, anyway, this one just doesn't have that. It's just all like mushy in the middle stuff. I don't know. If they had gotten rid of those quarter stops, I honestly think it would feel pretty good. Now, the cutting, really good. It comes down to a thin edge. It's a stupid thin stock for the size of this knife. the thickness of the scales, it honestly is a little off-putting how thin it is, because it just doesn't feel right. 0.08. I mean, we could try to do this. 0.07. I mean, it's stupid thin blade stock, guys. There. We'll go with 0.09 on the stock. I can't measure behind the edge, but then the handle thickness overall is just over 1/2 inch. So you have 1/2 inch thickness, but with 0.09 stock. It just seems weird. You would want a thinner handle, I think. So it's just a little goofy. You have this sort of bone handle, which is interesting, but not my favorite. And the transitions are okay. They're not great. I can catch this one pretty good. So they're okay. Cool little symbol there. I think that's the Maxace logo. And it is ergonomic. I mean, it's a very neutral design. It fits good in the hand. I think for somebody who can't have locking knives that wants something larger, sure, this is probably going to be pretty good. You have some jimping here, but you want to be careful, obviously, because it's a slip joint. But overall, I think it's a pretty cool knife. This is a crown spine, I believe. I think it's a cool knife. Just not, for me. And I think if you're a slip joint guy, I don't think it's going to be for you either. If you're just a modern guy and you want to just try something different, sure, I get it. But it's cool. So, anyway, that's the Maxace Beetle S, the Maxace Pterosaur, and the Tempest Knives Pinion. So, check out White Mountain Knives. Use my code LeftyEDC, and check out Tempest Knives, guys. I love you all. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.